Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, it's time to add a mobile lift to my garage. After years, even a couple decades now, of working on vehicles with a floor jack and jack stands, I'm just getting tired of crawling on the concrete. This is something that I should have done a long time ago with all of the projects that we've showcased on our channel, all of the vehicles that we've had. With this lift too, I also wanted to find one that can currently lift all three of my vehicles. You can see my truck in the background. They do make motorcycle attachments. I don't think I'm going to quite go that far just yet, but I have my X5 and my R8 as well. And so laid out, I have the 6000 ELX. Now this is advertised to fit EV vehicles because some of those have a very long wheelbase, but this is perfect for German vehicles as well. The X5 did not fit on the TLX, which I would say is one step down from this. Even with the extension pieces, it just wasn't going to fit. But this is also small enough to fit my R8. It also works on my brother and his wife's RS3 and M3 too. So this is something that I think will be very versatile, especially for the vehicles that I have. And I also did some research with future vehicles I would like to get if this is something that I can keep. Now with the SUVs and the trucks, I also added the SUV adapter kit so that way I can get a little bit more height. This comes with all of these blocks, which you can just place in here as needed. You can stack these blocks. I'm not sure if you can stack the blocks on top of the adapters. I will maybe test that out, but you can stack these blocks as they stick pretty well once they have some pressure. Now the kit also comes with all of the connections. I did get the oil for the pump here. This is the motor system. This will plug into a normal wall outlet. You can opt for a 240 volt if you have that, but I'm not wiring all that into the house when this will suffice. So this is going to be extremely helpful. Like I said, this is the 6,000 pound capacity lift. So it will hold my X5, it will hold my Tacoma. Any larger, the Tundra is about 6,000 pounds. So that is a future possible vehicle. I may have to do something else, but trucks have a lot of ground clearance anyway. So this is mainly for my car and the X5. So the first thing that I want to do is start off with the pump here. There's two connections here that we are going to use in order to hook up for the pressurized system. These were not tight when they arrived. So I want to loosen them, make sure that the seal in them looks proper, and then make sure that they are nice and snug. They were hand loose when it arrived. So I have a deep socket. This is a 7/8. It's the only one that I have that fits. And I don't want to go too tight. It looks like they will stop right about there. So it doesn't look like you can over tighten them at all. So next up, we need to pressurize the system. You'll notice too on the back section here, this is the connection for one of the pressurized cords. Over on this section, you're going to remove this valve stem cover. This is basically like removing it from your tire, and we need to pressurize the system between 40 and 50 PSI. I'm going to go right in the middle at 45. With the system properly pressurized now, we're going to come to the opposite side and we are going to remove this bolt here. Now there might be some liquid that comes out, so we'll just make sure that's dry. And then we have one of the shorter hoses, and this is going to get threaded on to this section. So we're basically just replacing that cap we just took off and making sure that this one is nice and snug. And of course, we'll do that on both sides. From there, it's time to attach the longer hoses to both the pump and the lift itself. So we have these green caps that we need to remove off of the end, and both of these connections are going to be the same. So it doesn't matter which side goes to the pump and which side goes to this unit here. So what we need to do is give it a really good firm push, and then we want to rotate this end. So you'll notice on this side, there's this small little ball bearing right in the middle. You want to make sure that you twist that so that way this connection is solid. It will not come off because we have that solid piece. And then you will do the same thing for the pump side as well. So just give it a little bit of muscle. Once you hear it click, then twist that to the side, and that will be nice and secure, and then we can do it for the other side as well. Now it's time to fill this unit up with some oil. So we have this silver bolt that we need to remove on this side. We're going to fill it up to about a ½ inch below the fill line for its first run. So that way it has some room to prime the system, and then we can fill it up and add some more from there. So it might be a little bit hard to see, but in person, I can definitely tell we're about at that mark there. So I didn't quite use the full 2 quarts, but I do have an extra one as well to use if needed. So I have the unit plugged into the wall right now. I also have the back side of what we pressurized here loose because we want to push out any air that's in these hoses in this entire system. We want all the fluid to run through. Once we see the fluid coming out of both sides of those, then we know we have enough fluid. We can top it off as well. So this might take a little bit of time pushing on the up button here. We're not going to see anything within the actual, oh, there we go. I did do a little bit of this off of camera, but you'll notice that we do have some oil coming out. So I want to go ahead and tighten both of these. It looks like, oh, we got a good bit there, so I need to go ahead and tighten those. What I also need to do is top this tank back off, and you'll notice too, there is this bolt right here that you want to make sure is loose every time you use this system, because with the pressure building up, you don't want this tank to expand. That is basically our breather valve for the tank. So you want to have this bolt nice and snug, but you want to make sure that you have that loose every time you are operating the system. And then you can tighten it back up when you're not, just to keep it a little bit safer from losing any fluid. So let's top this off now, and then we're ready to put the first vehicle up on it. We'll start off with the X5. Also, one thing to note, these are specific. There is a front and a back to the lift. You want to make sure too that you can see the locking section on the outside of the vehicle. So this will not be towards the midline of the vehicle. You want that on the outside. And then the wheels on this unit are actually going to be on the back. So you do not want to have it in the opposite direction. And what I noticed in placing the other side, when I have these disconnected, you can actually keep this hose just kind of right in the back there, and that makes it much easier to maneuver these, and then you can hook them back up when you are ready. So we can slide it under just like that, and once it's under, I can put this back underneath, fish it out like that, and I have the SUV adapter for the X5. So I'll place that right where I think it needs to go. With the jacks in place now, you also want to make sure you have the proper height. This is going to move the vehicle forwards as it goes up, so I may have to adjust my garage door as I get closer. So I have the vehicle as far back as possible. I'll be able to walk around it and work on it once it is in that upper position. You also want to make sure you have the proper lifting jack pads. So I bought these specifically for the X5, and along with the SUV adapters, I'm going to get right around 27 inches or so of space that it's going to lift this vehicle. And again, just depending on the additional pads that you use. So I have triple checked everything. Let's go ahead and lift this up. So I have it locked in its first position right now. You want to hold on the down button for just a little bit to depressurize the system. From there, you could also disconnect the hoses too, if this is where you are planning to work and you want to get those out of the way. So right off of the bat, this is already higher than working on jack stands. I could get my crawler and go underneath this very, very nicely. Now let's go all the way up if I can. So I'm just going to be watching my garage door at the same time. Look at that. I have plenty of clearance to lift this up that high off the ground for an SUV. That is awesome. So if I'm doing oil changes, I'm doing suspension work, things like that, I can get on the crawler. Look at all the space that I have. That is amazing. I should have done this so much sooner than crawling on the ground. So I've got my crawler here. That's just amazing. I cannot believe I have waited this long to do that. So that is awesome to see. So it works great for the X5. This is where I was talking about the lifting points. They're almost 70 inches apart. So the TLX wasn't big enough. I had to go ELX. As you can see, I am almost maxed out for the X5. So this is about the biggest SUV in this configuration that I can fit on this lift. But let's tear this down. Let's work on the truck. I got to figure out which way it'll fit in the garage, and let's see what it does for the Tacoma. So next up we have the Tacoma. Everything is set up properly. With this one, I'm almost all the way in for the areas you can place the lifts, and I have my spacer adapters in for those SUV truck adapters. They're the tallest height. I haven't put any of the blocks on Maybe that could work. I'm not entirely sure, but this is just the adapter itself. Have the truck as far back as possible. I may have to adjust the garage, but let's at least get it to setting 1. Okay, well that is past setting 1. Can we make it to setting 2? That looks like it's gonna be possible. And we'll let it sit on there. Wow, that is cool. So I can work on the truck now and do whatever I need to. Not that it's low, I'd probably just use setting 1 anyway, but if I had to do something under there and I needed all that space, full-size, mid-size truck, biggest vehicle I have in the garage, that is super impressive. So moving on to the R8 now. My vehicle is lowered about 1.5 inches or so, so I did have to drive it up on blocks. I may have to make the same ones for the rear too. I do have my floor jack. I needed a little bit of space on this side, but the other side was okay. And for this setup, I am using the shortest of those black pucks, so you can barely see it right there. I have one in each corner, of course, and I forgot to go in detail earlier with the front end and the back end of the lifts. So, as you've seen, all of the vehicles have been backed in. However, I did go ahead and switch the floor jacks. So you want the fronts to be where the engine is. So when I mentioned earlier the fronts and the back, the fronts are where the engine is, the back is where there's no engine. So on my vehicle, I had to flip it around because it's mid-engine, so you want to keep that in mind. The lift is specific for where the engine is located. So I flipped those around where you can still see that we have the releases on the outside. And then what I also want to do is see how far the vehicle moves. So if we use this line on the garage floor, we're just barely past it to the right there. So we'll see how far back it actually goes, just so that way, if you're working in areas like this, you know where to put the vehicle and where it's going to be in its highest position. So with everything installed, I'm on this side now just because of the length of the cable here. The lift actually clears my wheel well too, or my wheel base, so the tires are not touching the actual lift itself. So let's go to setting number 1 here. All right, and if I let off the pressure, now we can lock it in position 1, where there's still a good bit of space to work under the vehicle. But let's go all the way up to the highest setting now. So with it in the highest setting, this is definitely going to give me quite a lot of space underneath to work on this car, do oil changes and things like that. And then let's take a look at how far the vehicle moved back. So I mentioned earlier it was just to the right of this line here. So I would say a good foot, maybe 14 inches or so. So it doesn't position it all that differently once it's all the way up. So that's nice to know, especially in garage situations if you don't have a lot of space. Now I also want to showcase how to put this back down. So from the first position, you can keep lifting the lift up and then put it down and it will clear that one. From here though, since we still have it in that downwards position, once you are ready to put the vehicle down from this, you want to hold on up to where you see a little bit of movement, and then from here, you can just manually release both of them. Same goes for this side as well, just lift it up, and then from there, we can release the lift and bring it back down. So, very, very versatile and easy to work with. So from my perspective, it's a few days later. I wanted to throw this into the video because I'm currently getting my R8 set up for a big project to do underneath, and I wasn't certain how to actually get clearance underneath. So let me explain this a little further. For the R8, I was lifting it from this section right here for the major part of this video. I forgot there's this lifting point right here. If I lift the vehicle up from here, I can't actually drop the skid plate when the vehicle is up in the air. So it defeats the purpose of lifting the vehicle up because I would have to take the skid plate off first and then put it on the lift. So the way that I'm getting around this, I'm actually adding the SUV adapter to the R8. So I have one in front, one in back, and this is actually the shortest vehicle that can fit on here because I have this lift all the way to the left, or that adapter, and the front adapter all the way to the right. So the shortest lifting point for this lift, I believe, is right around 52, 53 inches. So that is awesome to see that I can fit this and then maxed out with the X5. So anything in between, it's going to be very versatile. But with the adapters too, that means that the vehicle is not resting on the lift. So look at the space that I have. If I were to lift the vehicle up, I can actually gain access to the bolts, anything around the vehicle there, and it's not resting on this entire metal section. So that is really cool. When I have this up in the air, I can pretty much do everything like it would be from a 2-post lift, where you just have the arms going front and back, and then you have access around both sides. So there we have it, showcasing the QuickJack system and how versatile it is with 3 different style vehicles. They are a bit heavy. As you can tell, I have them leaning up against the wall. You can get wall mounts if you want, but this system here is about 124 pounds each. So it's got some weight to it. It's really not all that bad to get them lined up. If you're doing this specifically for a job, it is going to be much easier. It's taken me several hours to get this video filmed and move these around several times. So this is something that I'm super excited to start using. I have a few projects right off the bat that I need them for, especially with this car here. So take a look at the link down in the description below. We do have a link that you can take a look at to purchase this product. I highly recommend it. Just one day of messing around with these, and it's so much better than jacks and a jack stand. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a huge thumbs up. Consider smashing that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with our daily uploads. I'll see you all in the next video.